Hello there, friends. Before we jump into it, if you like what we do here on cPDH.guide, the YouTube, and you want to support us in a free way, because, you know, that's what friends do, hit that like, hit that subscribe, even share the damn thing. All right, on to the show. Welcome, PDH people. Today, I have with me, myself and Jesus, that talking thing that we were talking about earlier prior to rolling this piece. I got with me Alex, or Gillysuit on the internets. I'm interviewing him today because on the same day that Mizu won Common Cause 2, Alex here won Paupergeddon, the NICPLZ, I guess that's how we're going, NICPLZ guy. He's a content creator, had a Pauper Commander tournament set up. How many rounds did you play? I think it was like 3 or 4. So 3 in finals.
3 in finals. Yep.
So small tournament. How many people did it have? Like 16, 20?
I think I had 16, 20. Yeah. Sounds about right.
So about an average size tournament. Yeah, an average size tournament for what you find on the internet. So not small, not too big. You know, right there in the middle. So he took it down as well as the people will see in the thumbnail as they clicked on this. It was Aaron, a street urchin, took it down.
That's right.
So we're going to do some usual like ramp up questions, kind of get to know Alex, you know, what is your address and social security number, or whatever the Canadian version of that is. We'll need a couple of credit card verifications. I'm just kidding. You gotta go a little light. So yeah. So who is Alex as a Magic player, and tell us a little bit about your journey, you know, through the Magic space.
All right. Yeah, for sure. I started playing Magic back in Mirrodin Besieged, actually.
Good set.
And yeah, it was super good set. It only got better with age. I kind of picked it up. I started playing Yu-Gi-Oh when I was like in high school, and that wasn't really for me. I've heard of Magic through like the grapevine, and someone I worked with just suggested I pick up like they had the dual decks back in the day, the Johnny versus Nicol Bolas one specifically.
Mm-hmm.
They're just like, go pick this up. It's 2 decks. You can play with us, and yeah, man, the rest is history from there. Like that just snowballed. Like I started collecting. I've been playing pretty much nonstop since then. I built up. I heard about EDH about a year or so later, and being a social format, I was way more into that. I'm not super competitive. I do like some of the competitive stuff, but I like to play cards with friends.
That was my next question, is like on the scale of competitiveness, like where are you, you know?
Yeah, I'd say like a 7 maybe. Like I like powerful cards. I like
my deck's a 7,
synergy.
my competitiveness is a 7.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. You know, I like powerful cards. I like good synergies, and like my first EDH deck was Send Triplets. Didn't know what I was doing. A bunch of people gave me a bunch of cards. I jammed it together. I won my first game ever, and I was like, this format's awesome. Like 4 of us are playing at the same time. I dabbled in Modern for a little bit. I like with good card quality. I got into Storm. I really like playing Storm because it's just like it's the headache of Magic, right? Are you going to get there? Is it deterministic? Not usually, but you can. It was really sweet. I played Storm for about a year, and then I was just like, take a step back from the competitive thing. Not really for me again. And then,
well, I mean, you were playing an archetype that they love to support. So, I mean, why not play forever?
That's right. Yeah, it was rough out there, but yeah, after taking like the step back from Modern, I just got back into EDH again. I did sell my collection once way back, like about 6 years into it. Yeah, I don't like to
especially
think about it, but
especially since you started back in Mirrodin, like Lord only knows.
I don't like to think about it, but we've kind of bounced back since then. I dabbled a little bit in cEDH. I do like a lot of the content creators that do stuff for like Play to Win. Shout out those guys. Like they're hilarious. Like that's my kind of vibe. Like just like it's high power magic, but they make it seem so chill. I wouldn't probably enter a cEDH tournament. I don't think I'm practiced enough to really take something like that down. But when NICPLZ host said he was going to do a Pauper EDH tournament, I was like, I did play a little bit of 60 card Pauper through my journey of Magic, and I was like, I remember that format being super cool. Like I played like an Oops All Spells deck for a Pauper list before, so I was like, I started taking a look and browsed around the internet. I found cPDH Guide, I found Sanctuary, I found Common Connoisseurs.
Those are all great places.
Really good places. If you like, seriously, like amazing resources. Because like that's where I found my list that I played in this tournament with. I found Ankylosaurs, I think is the username. I don't know if I'm saying that right.
Nope.
But,
like the dinosaur.
Yep, Ankylosaur. I found his YouTube video on Aaron's Street Urchin where he kind of really breaks that deck down. And as I was like looking at like, because a lot of the combo stuff, being a previous Storm player, kind of interested me. So I was looking at lists like Tatiova, Weavers, Dargo, Keskit, like just some of these like combo centric decks. And I'm like looking at them, I'm like, all those decks need their commander to operate. And what does Aaron Street Urchin do? Makes it so you can't do that. So I like really liked his view. Exactly. Yeah. He's just the death touch with that ability is crazy. Ankylosaur does a really, really, really good breakdown on that video. Got me super hyped on the deck. So I like rush built it in paper like immediately. I went out and I got everything for it. I actually built Weavers, I built Dargo Keskit, and I built Loyal Subordinate as well. Just found the lists on cPDH Guide, and I just like carbon copied them. Got a few of my buddies to just like grab them and play them with me, and got some reps in with Street Urchin, and then actually got a few games in with Papa Popper there, Ryan from Common Connoisseurs. And honestly, those, I think we played 2 games. I learned the most in those 2 games I have in a long time playing Magic. It was the players I was playing with were extremely helpful and like kind of like I'm pretty good at Magic. I've been playing for a while, but like they were able to like kind of just suggest politely ways for you to move throughout the. Anyway, I learned a ton from them. That's why I got my reps in with that deck, and it operated exactly as thought. Like anytime someone needed a creature to do something, they couldn't do it, and that was exactly my game plan. And group control, like you don't get to play that in any other format, I think.
And I like, think that's the only
pretty sweet.
Yeah, at the time, like we've been working on some off-color. When you think control, you usually think blue. So we've been working on some off-color control stuff, but Aranis Street is definitely the leader in that. Also, kind of point out to the viewers, Alex is coming to us from the wilds of BC, British Columbia. So, like, there's more trees than there are people out there. So, like, if you hear a little lag in the internet, it's because he's basically standing in outer space giving an interview. So.
That's right.
Sorry, just had to pick
hotspot off my phone for this.
Yeah, had to. Well, that's only if it's a sunny day, you know. I mean, you know, with the clouds in the way.
The satellite can't connect. It's tragic out here.
How do you people even live?
It's hard, man. It's hard.
No doubt. So yeah, if there's a little laggy, you know, right there, we haven't had to like splice the video yet, so good to go. Okay, so Ankylosaur intrigued you on a deck to play. You talked about playing in the connoisseurs and other places to kind of like get some reps in and prep. So like by tournament day, you felt like you were ready?
I did actually. Like usually, I mean, I'm brand new to the format. Like NICPLZ released the thing. Actually, the first thing I went and built was Displaced Dinosaurs. When he announced the tournament, I think that card's hilarious. I was like, Displaced Dinosaurs is crazy. Everything's a 7/7 forever. And then I was like, quickly realized like, no, you pay 7 mana for commander, and then nothing's a 7/7. But anyways, yeah, he announced that, and then I just like took down the rabbit hole. And I think before the tournament, I had a total of like 6 games under my belt. So like, I knew what I was doing. I goldfished the deck a bunch, but like 6 real games was about what I had going into the tournament and being completely new to the format. So there's a lot of, wait, what does that do?
Well, I mean, so you touched on some like high points or key points that I would recommend, and that's really that's what these interviews are about, because telling me that you goldfished a lot, like I goldfish a lot. Like I will have, when I'm putting a deck together, especially in paper, I'll goldfish it probably 100 times because I want to see how the flow, if the land count is right. In fact, depending on the list, I'm actually taking data for like how many lands I can expect. You know, I don't like to use hypergeometric calculators because they run off of millions of iterations, or at least 10,000 iterations, and nobody's going to play a deck that much. So you need the coarse, granular nature of that real data to kind of tell you how it's going to perform. So the fact that you goldfished a lot and you attempted to get games in prior to the event, like these are key things for basically a synthesis of a player knowing their list inside and out. And it sounds like to me that you knew, you know, even though it was, you know, somebody else's construction, somebody else's idea, you put it together, and through those reps, you know, really imprinted yourself on that list, you know, heart of the cards, as it were.
100%. I made one change to his list. I cut one forest and put a snake umbra in because that is just cracked with her. I never saw it. Never got to play it. But like, I just like, if I can get that on airness, like I'm not losing the game. But that was the only change I made to the entire list. Yeah, I took basically a carbon copy of that list, and just got my reps in. Goldfishing comes from playing Storm. You can play Storm by yourself, basically in your room for hours on end, and do those calculations. Write out like, hey, like this is turn 3 deterministic. And I kind of did the same thing with Aranus Urchin. Just sat down and went through it. Paupergeddon is a slower format than turn 3. It's like 9 or 10 or something like that. But I'd play like the first, like, if no one touches me for 6 turns, this is what I look like, and I felt pretty comfortable.
Don't tell those Malcolm guys that it's not a turn 3 format, right?
That was another deck I built, actually. That was the other one. I built 5 decks before. I built Malcolm, Rograk, and
interesting.
That was the 5th deck I built. Yeah,
because that's stormy.
It is, and I actually got to play it last night at the LGS. I convinced a table to play Pauper with me, and I piloted that deck, and I actually pulled like a really crazy. It felt like I was playing Modern Storm for a second. It was like some contraption of I made Gutter Snipe a pirate, and then cast like 2 rituals into the Soul Bond guy that lets you draw cards.
I want to say it's Galvanic Alchemist.
No, that's the Untapper.
Yeah. I'm blanking.
I drew into a bunch of cards from there, and it felt like Storm. It was super cool. Like,
all the people in the chat are going to make real fun of us. But it's been a long work day, man.
It has been. Something lookout. It's something lookout, right?
Jesus, I'm still blank. Anyway.
Yeah, me too. It's gone.
Funny how that works. Okay, so
Yeah, 100%.
So tournament day, first pod. Tell me what that looks like. Where were you sitting? In the pod composition, who were you playing against? Tell me about that experience.
First round. Let me see if I can pull that out of the depths of my brain. Or actually, maybe I have a screenshot somewhere on here. I don't. It's buried. I was playing against. I know at one point I was playing against a Slimes deck, a Displaced Dinosaur deck. I feel like this was round 2, actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I can't really remember round 1.
For you folks watching this video, immediately after the tournament, he flew to Mexico and then came back, and then I was ramping up to go to Chicago and then getting back, and here we are almost 2 weeks after the fact. So details are a little
fuzzy,
little crunchy. Yeah. So let's start here then. NICPLZ had some an interesting twist to his tournament that you don't normally see in other places. He had a point system. Tell me something about that.
Yeah, so there's a couple different it kind of reminded me of LGSs that do seasons for casual commander nights or something. They'll do a season with a point system. You can get points for first blood, hitting someone, be the first person to hit someone. If you cast your commander 6 times in a game, you get some extra points for that. And then there was a point system for if you were first eliminated, you got 0 points, and then I think for winning, you got 10 points or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, you could play the first 3 rounds, and your points only mattered because that's what got you into the final round. So there were a couple players that actually took that and kind of incorporated that into their list a little bit. I know. I think Bfine is his name. He was playing. He was on Weavers. So I remember seeing in the chat there was one game where he left with 30.
Okay, folks, we got a little crunchy. I had to pause, and we're coming back in. So he was explaining how Bfine was leveraging his Gretchen deck and ended up with 36 points. And how did he get those 36 points?
Yeah, he was on Weavers, I think it was, and I remember seeing in the chat he went infinite and then capsized his own commander to cast it the 6 times and get those points. So it was it was super cool to see people actually using that point system and kind of abusing it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't end up doing that at all. I kind of just played the honest game, I'm gonna get my 10 points and kind of walk away here. What ended up happening with the points in round 1, I took round 1, so I ended up with 10 points. Round 2, I lost round 2 actually, and I was first out, so I got 0 points in that round. And then in round 3, I got first blood, and then ended up winning that game. And I only won that game because someone counterspelled a Buccaneers Bravado on a Dargo that was attacking me. Because one of the points was save a player from dying. So they got their 2 points for that, but I ended up taking the round. So that put me at 21 points going into finals. And then after the dust settled and everyone's points came in, I was the last seat at that table.
Yeah.
With 21 points. The next person was below me was 20 points.
So this is definitely you answered a question that I had asked when I first saw the point system. I was like, save a player from dying. I wonder if that's going to have any effect whatsoever on the pod makeup, from round to round, on the winners and stuff like that. And it turns out that it did.
100%. I was dead. The guy I had no blocks on his Dargo, and he just like chose me. He probably should have attacked the combo player, but he chose me. Mostly because I'm like Airness Urchin is a huge threat to that deck. Can't operate if I'm online. So it was like turn 3 or something, and he was just like maybe 4 or 5. But anyways, he chose me, went for it, and the guy was just like, I got the counter spell. And so I only took the 7 instead of dying, which totally changed the entire last table, I'm sure.
And this is just beyond the point system. What you're describing is there's some differentiating schools of thought in the community at the moment, especially with regard to like the comment that you made about he should have attacked the combo player. So the way the Dargo player probably viewed it is that the incidental stuff is going to take care of the combo people, but once those people are gone, he's got to deal with you. So getting you off the table while incidentally taking care of the rest of the players was probably the rationale behind that. So
100%.
Yeah. So in other circles, they're like, oh, you got to just beat the combo people in, beat their face in until they're gone. And then we'll just deal with each other on a 1v1 basis. But like you can understand in that circumstance, like they had 0 chance. So, because once you get Airness online, it's beep, beep, beep.
Huge threat to their strategy, right? Like that, and that was again one of the reasons why I picked the deck, because like a lot of these decks operate off of their commanders, and when I'm online with Airness Urchin, you can't operate the way you would normally play a game. So yeah, I said he should have attacked the commander player. That's just me being like skewed in my thought, right? Yeah. He was right, 100% right to attack me because I ruined his whole game plan.
Well, I mean, I wanted to bring that up because obviously you can tell which side of the fence that I'm on. I believe a combo player with no game board pieces but cards in their hand is the perfect player, because that means they're not winning; they're just interacting. Right. Yeah. So, okay, so that was round 3. So how many points did you end up getting into the finals with?
I had 21 points. So I wasn't even. I think B-Fine had like, I can't remember exactly, but I want to say it was like, I want to say it was like 70 something points. Mm-hmm. So like the number 1 player going in had like, I don't know, upwards of like 50 points, and then below him was another player on Tatiova who was also raking in absurd amounts of points. And then I squeaked in just above someone else with 21 points. It was tight.
Yeah, it was that first blood point that put you over the edge.
100%. Yeah, I don't know if we had like a roll off to find out who gets in, but like,
right. Okay.
Yeah, interesting system.
So we're in the finals. It's as I recall, it was you in seat 1 because 2 tournaments were happening in the same day, and I was actually playing in the other tournament and kind of interacting in that space for the most of the day. I was able to actually catch the finals. So it was you in the first seat. It was Bobby in the second seat. I can't remember who was in third or what they were playing, but the Tatiova player was in fourth.
Yeah. So it was the Corp Jack Menace slime deck was in C3. I actually recorded this game. So I on my flight to Mexico, I actually rewatched the game just to go over some of the plays and stuff, because that was a slugger of a game for sure, because there was a big win attempt from the Tatiova player, and I think it took the 3 of us to stop him from actually getting there.
I was screaming at my computer screen. Merchant Scroll, Dizzy Spell, or what? Whoa, it was Ghostly Flicker. So Merchant Scroll for Ghostly Flicker. I was like, no.
Yeah, it was a crazy game, and for some reason the slime player had it out for Weavers. I think they played a round before, so like there was a bit of overlap there. So he was already a bit like, you saw what Weavers can do. I'm not 100% sure about that.
Yeah, casually minded players have a memory, for sure.
Yeah. So lots of swing. So they were basically like, I think they were down almost in like Aranis like shooting range at a certain point where it was like they could go for it, but I have 3 permanents on board, like pew pew. But yeah, so the turn order had a big play in that because Tatyova with their win attempt was seat 4, and then I was going into my turn seat 1 after their win attempt to like rebuild after kind of taking care of their combo turn. Yeah, it was I should have watched this video again, but yeah, it was actually one of like the better games of Magic I've played in a long time, and I've been finding that actually I've been saying that a lot playing this format. There's cards you never get to see or play with, and they create these really unique but powerful situations that has a lot more. I find it's a lot more interactive in a way that doesn't feel like the counterspell stack. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna try and win, so it's like counterspell, 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 counterspell. Okay, you win. It's like it's all these intricate like. I don't want to use the word jank because they're obviously powerful cards. This is like becoming a real competitive format, but it's like it's like common cards, and they create this like weird weaving intricate layer of synergy. That's the word I'm looking for. It's incredible. Like it's just it feels fresh every time I pick up a deck, and where like a lot of the a lot of the EDH stuff I find can become stagnant. I've been playing EDH for like 12 years or something, so like I've seen and probably played most of the stuff out there, and this Pauper being there's like 1,000 commanders or something like plus like
like there's over 3,000 commanders for PDH. There's like 1,400. Yeah, so like we've almost got 3 times the amount. The only reason why I remember that offhand is because I was just talking about it in Chicago this last weekend. So
that's cool.
I had my salesman hat on. So yeah,
get him in here.
Yeah, the thing that I like to kind of pair it off of, pair or pivot rather off of what you were saying. So the way they print cards for regular Commander, everything revolves around that new card. Like, oh my God, the One Ring. Look how this one card is destroying everything, blah, blah, blah. It's actually the inverse experience for PDH. A singular card opens up a history, a backlog of old cards and makes them potentially more viable. So it works in the opposite direction, which is why I love this format. Like it's not solved by every new card. It's actually made more opportunity and availability for every new card.
Yeah, I agree with that.
We do have some redundancy being built in via the fire design, but that just makes the those decks previously unavailable more viable in the competitive sphere too. So
100%.
Yeah. So you take it down. Any big plays, any splashy saucy events or interactions from that last game that kind of speak out to you?
It was just the I think it was that Tatyova player's turn. It was like I had enough stuff, and they were kind of just like, I'm gonna try and do this, and I'm like, oh. And Bobby's there screaming at me like, "You gotta kill us stuff!" Like, I'm like, all right, well, I'm looking at my hand and like I've got enough to like keep Bobby in range. I know the slime player can't kill me because I'll just have ammunition for his slimes all day long. And it ended up going to, after the tattoo of a combo turn, it ended up going to Bobby ended up getting taken out, and then it ended up just being me and the Corpse Jack Menace, and he kind of went one card, I kind of killed it, and then he went one card, and I killed it, and I think it took it with like a, I just kept building up board. I think it was either.
Well, you had enough lands, I think, in those the sacrifice lands, the terramorphic expanse, and all that stuff, which would,
Yeah,
I mean, the land
ramping.
package, yeah, the ramp, and then you get into bigger things, and then yeah, it's just snowballs from there.
The artifact lands being free ammunition essentially is crazy. Yeah. The biggest play that stood out from the tournament was getting saved from a Buccaneers bravado 100%. Like that's what put me in the finals. The finals was more stave off the combo players. Bobby got beaten into submission by the slime player, and then I kind of just was able to just like finish off there, and then
Bobby's probably
control that.
Bobby's probably watching this going, yeah, I probably deserved it. Yes, you did. Dirty bastard.
Yeah. I hope he comments how many points he actually had, if you can remember, because like I remember seeing it was like an absurd number. I'm like, oh, there's no way I'm getting into finals. B finds up for like 1 million points that by now. Like,
yeah, he had talked about in the weeks up to it. He had talked about how interesting the point system was, and not that he had an intention to game it, but it was definitely one of the things that was on the forefront of his brain getting into it. And if Bobby's looking at it, yeah. So, yeah, crazy. So, I talked to NICPLZ after the fact and basically asked them, like, hey, how did you feel about it? Blah, blah, blah. Doing the politics thing, hey, you're going to have this again. And he's like, probably not.
Yeah.
Well, poop. So, you're probably forever emblazoned as the Paupergeddon NICPLZ, Pauper Commander champion, never to relinquish your throne. But what it works out to is this is a great launching point, I feel, for you. You played with a forgive the term, a borrowed list this time. I feel that those are the gateways to getting in and becoming a brewer for the format and discovering
100%.
New things. So
one of my favorite things of EDH to do is to brew decks. So this is a whole new wormhole essentially. I'm looking at my desk right now. I've got 1, 2, 3. I've got 4 piles of potential Pauper commanders in front of me right now.
Sweet.
It's the lists are slowly coming together, and I love brewing. I think it's like the best part of Magic. I think like there's so many cards, there's so many options, there's so many different strategies to lean into, and this new basically gateway that I was given with this tournament is just another angle, a cheaper angle to kind of express that deck building,
economic,
reflexive deck building,
affordable,
very
low barrier 100%. To entry. Yeah.
You can spend like you can get a whole deck for what you might spend on like one card. If you want the One Ring, you can probably build 2 Pauper EDH decks. Just saying.
Sweet.
Now, if you want to foil those out, it gets a little out of hand, but
So with this one tournament in the bag, and I presume that you're not going to go anywhere. So now we kind of pivot and look more future facing. You mentioned that you have some decks that you're trying to build. I would presume that you're still attempting to play some games and figure things out. Do you have any opinion whatsoever on I would say the current state of the meta, but that would infer that you would have a previous state of the meta, which is you likely don't. But what is your impression of the meta based on what you've seen in tournament, the games you've played outside of that? Like what are some highlights that you can point to?
Yeah.
Put our
I'm
analytical hat on.
yeah, I really like some of like the I like that mono white is actually really good. I think white is actually a horribly underrepresented color in EDH, and in Pauper EDH, I get blown out and surprised by white so often.
Mhm.
Like
We're back. It's at BC Internet. So Alex was just talking
space
about
thing.
how wonderful mono white was, and then a wild Finhorn brownie came out of the woodwork and is possessing us at the moment as Alex becomes a stand for mono white. Go.
So yeah, I saw like removal getting blanked by like Chomano's blessing, and I was just like, this is so cool. Like it, I I've never like. Anyways, I won't lean too much. I like where White's at here right now in the meta. I really like the mid range decks. I think are really strong too. Ryan's an excellent, or Papa Popper. There's an excellent third path iconoclast player. His list is insane. There's so much synergy going on there.
Mm-hmm.
Being at 30, only 30 life in the format, all those like Reckless Fireweaver, Firebrand Archer, all those things just kind of become like extremely dangerous. So like there's those like mid range, like that's just gonna pump value out all day long, and if you leave it unchecked, it's gonna run away with the game. And then again, being at 30 life, we have space for aggro in this format, which is something I feel is like really missing from EDH. Being at such a high life total, you have to deal 120 damage in a normal EDH game, and your 1/1s aren't getting there before someone casts Wrath of God or wipes the board in some way, right? Here, your 1/1s are more likely to get there because the sweepers in the format aren't as broad hitting. Like they're very much damage based, some minus here and there, but like like Loyal Subordinate is like that deck is cracked. Like Loyal Subordinate being your commander and it always doing 3 damage. That's a 10 turn clock, and this is a 9 turn format. If you Dark Ritual that on turn one, like it's a real aggro deck. You feel the burn every time that guy moves into combat. It's got Menace, so someone's taking 6 that turn. Like and 6 from 40, okay, you can do that a few times. 6 from 30, like that's 2 combats less, right? Like that feels way faster. So I really like that there's space for some like faster, lower to the ground, aggressive decks in the format too. And yeah, like there's all the formats get kind of have a place here. So it's like, or not all the formats, but like all the archetypes kind of have a place here because it's just like it's a little bit slower than a normal, like it compares CDH as like a turn 4 format. And you're probably comboing out to get there, or you're playing some kind of control game so the combo player doesn't just win and you're pushing it a little longer. Where here it's like there's space for combo, there's space for aggro, there's space for mid range. I played a storm deck last night. Like it's so cool that it opens up all these different avenues for deck building, and it's super cool. And I just love that the state of the format, I think, is extremely healthy right now. I think there's a lot of room for growth, and a lot of I don't think it's getting solved, and that's something that's really cool.
We're definitely in the higher. So it's kind of 2 parts. So the availability of viable archetypes is like wide open. So like the sky is the limit. but then you have the performance side where his. What's odd is if you look across the width and breadth of play, like to include open and both tournament data. Like, I mean, it's completely like wide open. Now, once you get into the tournament side, for whatever reason, people like to put down their control list and their aggro list and pick up a combo list or a mid-range list. And, those get pared down and the results are, more in combo's favor where tournaments are concerned. Open that back up sure. And, then you have a different play experience. So now the conversations or the debate or discourse or however you want to look at that is centered around observing, like you said earlier, these 9 turns. How are we interacting within the confines of these 9 turns? What does a combo deck do with that 9 turns? What does a mid-range deck do with those 9 turns? How those overlap and, all the intricate ways that, tempo interacts with that. And like, that's the micro discussions that are happening like right now. Sorry, I had to look over my shoulder. I thought my wife was coming downstairs. So yeah, like your enthusiasm is contagious, and I'm hoping other folks are seeing that. Now, to that end, we've got this is being recorded actually on leap day, 2024. So we've got a future tournament here in a couple of weeks with Sanctuary. Yep. Are you engaging in that? We're going to see you there.
I am. Yeah, I think I'm going to give it a shot again. I need to check my schedule because I don't know, but I would really like to be a part of it. I got it's definitely in the forefront of my mind. I'd like to definitely partake in Sanctuary. Sanctuary does one like once a month or something like that.
It's once every quarter, I think it is.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, like I definitely am interested in it. I missed the last one because I had already committed to the tournament that I ended up winning. So I'd like to try and give it a shot because I see all the names as you like go through the discords and all the different decks, deck lists and stuff. You see a lot of the same names kind of come up. So I'd like to give a shot against some of like the bigger names in the format, if you will, and I think a lot of them will be there. So.
I mean, just letting you know, we're buddies now, but on game day.
It's game time, baby.
But yeah, so do you think you've got this in paper. It sounds like you got some other brews forthcoming. I'm not going to ask you to tip your hat and be like, yes, I'm playing this very specific thing, because then people can metagame against your choices and stuff like that. But I, in fairness, they should be expecting at least one Aranus player to show up anyway. So
I think that deck is going to start. I mean, I think it's going to shake the format a little bit. I think it's like I said, like you said yourself, like a lot of these players put down their control decks and they reach for these combo decks. But how do these combo decks actually operate? They operate a lot of the times off their commander. And if I can not necessarily me, I'm not saying I'm going to necessarily play this deck, but if the Aranus Urchin player can establish their board in a timely manner against the combo deck, like it shuts so much down. Like it's really hard to play around at that point. You're either blowing interaction piece early to slow them down from establishing the board state, so some of your protection might go away from stopping that looming threat from coming down. But yeah, I think the deck definitely is going to maybe start putting up some more results. I think
right on.
I think it's extremely well positioned.
So don't feel bad about blowing interaction early, because that's kind of the trend I've been on now, because it's a race, right? So as mid-range, historically, and by historically I'm talking about just last calendar year, the mid-range players are seeking to curve out their value, so that way when they get to turn 5, they have engines in play and they can basically operate off of those value engines that they have in play. Well, what do you think the combo players have been doing? They've been racing to get their combo prior to turn 5. So there's this intersection where there's like no interaction from the mid-range players because they're establishing their board. Well, what if we take the opportunity to, establish our board at a little bit later interval and have interaction at these key points?
For sure.
So don't feel bad about blowing it. If you gotta get rid of it. I mean, blowing a piece and being in the game is better than not having it and using it and losing.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah, there's definitely that's definitely something that should be looked at a little deeper, I think.
Right on. So what days do you usually get to play?
I only usually get to play on Wednesdays at my LGS. Pretty tight schedule. I have that food cart, West Coast Willie's. And
get
so
some of that food.
Oh, it's so good. Donairs are life. But having that rolling into the summer now, starting my season coming up here, so I'll be pretty tight on actually getting to play some online games. But I just throw up looking for game in one of the discords. I like the comic connoisseurs. I've played a few games with Ryan. He's a great guy, wealth of knowledge. Like love to play with him because I always learn something. He's got great information. So I usually throw up looking for game in the common connoisseurs and try and get something going if I have like a spare hour or two and can get it going. And yeah, definitely switched my deck building focus from like normal EDH to a lot of Pauper stuff.
We got him. You heard it here. We got him. Now we got to get you to set up a tournament or otherwise a scene at your LGS. By all means, let me know what I can do to support that.
There's 5 of us right now that all have our own decks. And then I, of course, have 5 decks in paper if anyone was interested in checking out the format. I just picked like some of the top decks that I could find on cPDH Guide. And, here's what the top of the format kind of looks like. Here's like what some of like if you were to enter a tournament, like the one coming up here soon, here's what you might encounter. And we can actually play games against those decks now. So yeah, there's someone who built Third Path Iconoclast.
I hear it's a good deck.
Not looking at any lists either. She just kind of like knows how to build decks. Liked that it was like, I have to play a legendary. So like, kind of picked that one up and like took down a game last night pretty handily. Like just those reckless fireweavers, man, and just making a whole board of 1/1s. It does it sometimes.
I love my TPI list. I love it.
So good. We got another guy on. Wilson Agent, which was pretty spicy. A lot of lifelink in that deck. So yeah, it was hard to catch up to him at a certain point. We got another guy on Abdel Agent, which is the Iron Maiden list, I think is called. That's floating around there.
I think that's James's or Yami. I think that's his list.
Yeah, he's found that one again on cPDH Guide and was just like, this looks awesome, goes for it. So he's got that one in paper. And then we have a mono red gutter snipe player too, which has been pretty spicy. Again, that 30 life, man, it's not 2 damage a turn is like 20 turns at 40 life. But
I mean, if you're storming, it's more than 2 damage a turn,
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. His list is shaping up. We played a few games, not this last Wednesday, but the Wednesday before, and I played a couple cards, and he was like, "What? That's a common?" And I'm like, "You got to look up the legality because some of the things are common in Magic Online that opens up the legality for Pauper and paper too, right?" So I kind of got him interested in a few spicy tech cards for his gutter snipe list. So yeah, we got a small little community kind of brewing. There's actually a LGS in Calgary in Alberta. They're firing a Pauper EDH tournament tomorrow at their shop. I'm not there to play it. I've only lived in Calgary. I lived in Calgary like a while back, but I'm
Send me a link. I'll reach out to him.
Sounds good. Yeah, I will for sure. A buddy of mine just kind of was just like, "Oh, when are you going to Calgary? I'm planning a trip there soon." And I was like, "When are you going to Calgary? Like, they're hosting a tournament." I'm like, "I hope it does good, because like if they're firing one a month, I might be able to catch the one in April when I go." So,
well, I mean, if it's a regularly planned thing, I can put them on the map, and people can find them on the Find a Tournament portion of the website.
100%.
I just added Brazil last month.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah. So we're growing, baby. We're growing.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, Brazil's massive too. Like, they have a huge player base.
Mm-hmm.
Very popular there. Yeah. That's awesome. Sweet.
Well, I think, we've got the tournament results. We've got some aspiring. Hopefully, we'll see you in the Sanctuary tournament coming up, playing against each other.
I hope so.
Any parting thoughts? I mean, we got a minute or two if you want to put out anything else.
I'm just kind of like, I'm thankful for all like the resources that are kind of in place for the format already, because like I am a deck builder. I do like to kind of brew stuff, but having all that data, having all that information on like top tournament decks is important, and when you're moving into like a competitive space in a format. So
you'll know what to expect.
100%. Like big shout out to you, man. You're doing a lot of great work for the community. Huge shout out to Anklosaur, because like I took a tournament down with your list, man. Like, appreciate you, man.
That dude is a monster.
Huge shout out to Pauper, Ryan, man. Like, I learned a ton playing with him. Brewbear was another guy. I had a great game with him. The community's great. The Paupergeddon community that I've ran into since like the announcement of the tournament has been phenomenal. Really welcoming. Tons of information. Like, I can't speak highly enough of it, to be honest. Like, it's. I only hope it grows, and I only hope it grows more positively. That's the Canadian in me, right? The nice guy.
Well, no, I'm super excited to hear that that's your experience. I basically have beaten everybody or paid them off to make them nice people. That's a complete joke. Actually, we have worked. Kudos to all those people in the background who have channels and all that stuff. We've worked really hard to congeal as a community and really work together to promote this thing that you're expressing. We've
shout out Lobert too. I another really good.
I got him coming in next week. I got him coming in next week.
Go. Okay, sweet.
So yeah,
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No.
I got Lobert in there.
No, for real. Like we work really, really hard to work together and promote this thing, and it's a loving community, and it's like Lobert is. You're gonna. You plural, the royal you find out like that Lobert focuses on something that I don't focus on, but there's a lot of real overlap there. So we're gonna dive into what that looks like and that sort of thing, and even like my more competitive thing, peers, counterparts, what have you, like Ryan Pauper. We're pretty much aligned, down the line, and there's like a small amount of deviance, and it's real like the devil in the details that makes for like such interesting discussion. And once again, I'll be on his stream this following Monday, discussing a deck, a Let's Brew. So we'll get to see more of that. But yeah, like I'm super pumped that you get to have that experience, because that's exactly the experience that we are wanting players to have, is this sense of community and unity and happiness, and like the world is your oyster and all of that. So
100%, man. Mission accomplished.
We're doing our job, damn it.
You're doing it real good too.
Sweet.
To you.
Sweet. Alex, my man, we're at 55 minutes. I mean, it'll be like 52 once I edit the BC internet.
Come back from space, yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. So yeah, I'll probably get this out. You guys will be watching this. Probably I'll drop it the following day. So Yeah. I'm super happy to have you on. We had to go through a couple of travel, so a couple of trips to get here, but better late than never, man. So
100%, man.
So yeah, until then, let's see. If you're in the British Columbia, I don't know if you want to reveal your location and where your cart is, but if you're in a place that has West Coast Willies, right, and you see this cart, like, grab some food. Tell us about this supreme upper echelon food, this dish of the gods. Tell us a little bit about that.
It's like I said, it's inspired by the Greek gyro. A guy immigrated to Halifax, Nova Scotia from Greece, and the Halifax palate wasn't ready for tzatziki, is the usual sauce that goes on it. So he created this garlic sweet sauce, and then it's just spiced beef, tomatoes, onions, sauce in a pita bread, and it's all in that sauce, man. And I worked in a donair shop for a couple of years there, and it was a poutine shop, but we had donairs, and I made that sauce, and I took that recipe with me. And
see, you just opened up a can of worms. Okay, so hello, people in the South, e.g., not Canada. Poutine is a dish that has fries and brown gravy.
Yes,
brown gravy. Cheese curds, if you're real. Some people put cheese sauce. We don't talk about those people. And I'm missing one thing, right?
No, man. Fries, gravy, cheese curds.
Boom. So, yeah, being in Fargo, I'm close enough to Canada to know exactly what poutine is. So,
and if you see me, I also, with the donair, sell the poutine, because it couldn't get more Canadian than that.
You get two things. Two things.
Try it out.
Sweet. All right, we're going to end it there. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you.
Appreciate it.